We're here today to talk about site remediation. And in this particular installment, we're on a site in Donville, which was a former plant nursery. That plant nursery use over the years has resulted in site contamination issues requiring cleanup, specifically arsenic. So those surface soils have been contaminated with arsenic, and the developer wishes to develop this property into a new estate. So the issues are the arsenic contamination and minimizing the cost of cleanup for our client, the developer. How are we doing that? Well, with any remediation project, we need to look carefully at the total cost of getting cleanup. So in this case, how can we best manage the known site analytical data to get the remediation outcome that best suits the client and is the most cost-effective way to go forward. So we spent a lot of time crunching numbers, and we're here today setting out the areas that actually need to be cleaned up with a laser level and putting pegs into the ground so we know exactly how much soil is to come out, and that soil will be the minimum amount necessary to achieve the outcome that we're looking for. Preparing lands for residential use requires attention to not just the chemical contamination on the land itself. There's a number of protected beneficial uses which we need to be aware of when getting a site ready for residential use. Of course, one of these things is rubbish. Solid inert waste can be left on the site following demolition of sheds and concrete pads and other things which are no longer needed on the site and have to be removed prior to development. So one of the issues here on this site will be to make sure that any solid inert waste gets removed prior to the audit being signed off. Another issue we need to take care of on this site is asbestos. We found some remnant bonded asbestos cement sheeting left below fences in a few localized areas. We'll be removing that as part of the package of works that we're doing here for the environmental site remediation. A couple of points about effective site remediation, and the key points here is preparation. The preparation work is crucial to establishing how much soil that we have to take off, knowing exactly where it is, how deep to excavate. This is crucial because every one of these trucks rolling out of here over the next few days is going to be loaded up with contaminated soil, and each truck is going to cost our client thousands of dollars to get rid of. So we've done all that preparation work before even putting a shovel in the ground here to ensure that our client is not going to pay any more than he needs to have his site decontaminated while still reaching all the environmental objectives necessary to have this site signed off. Alright, back on site here. It's been a few days now into the project. I'm going to introduce you to Helena Willems, who's project managing the fieldworks today. Helena, give us an update where we're at.
Well, yesterday and this morning we had a couple guys on site. They're taking the soil out. We're working within a GPS grid to remove soil that's been contaminated. Over here you can see we've removed about 0.2 meters, and on this side over here about 0.5. So it depends on what depths we're going to, and we're being really careful to keep those levels just right so to minimize disposal costs for our client.
Right, it's been a few days since we were last on site with the camera. In the period there, we've been excavating all the polluted soil onto stockpile to get rid of that. Our next part of the job is to collect validation samples. Those are to determine the effectiveness of what we've done. So those samples will be analyzed to make sure that the decontamination has been complete. And behind me, Barb is collecting some of those validation samples, which will be tested and put in our final report. Part and parcel with environmental remediation jobs is an acknowledgement that there could be off-site environmental impacts. So we need to have an environmental management plan. In this case, one aspect is the creation of siltation fencing to prevent off-site impacts to the adjacent creek line.